Okay, hello everyone. So today I'm going to talk about part one of the video assignments. I have some notes here I'm going to go over. And if you didn't see the first video, basically this is related to Ted Forbes' Art of Photography. He did a series called Photo Assignments. It's been a few years. I'll put a link down in the description. But anyway, getting my notes up here. So the first part of the assignment is put in 10 to 15 pictures of something you love and print them out and put them in a notebook. I've done that. It's all my dogs. But that really wasn't an assignment. It's sort of an assignment, but anyway. And in the original assignment, they were going to collaboratively share the pictures everybody was taking. I'm just going to share my results here. You can feel free to follow along, or you can go to the original and take a look at that. But I figured I would go through the assignments and see my results and see how I progress as I go through some of these. And this first one is actually interesting. The first assignment is variations. And basically it's to expand your thinking about how to compose a photograph. Similar to how Van Gogh and Monet would paint the same subject multiple times. Van Gogh, typically, I believe, he did self-portraits of himself. He did several, but the variations were in color, not necessarily anything else. Monet actually did landscapes at different times of the year, sometimes across different years. And for him, a lot of it was about how the light changed, which, of course, in photography is important. Ted also mentions an artist, Japanese artist, who did variations in time as an art display. One of the things he also mentioned was a book by Edward de Bono. The title of the book is Lateral Thinking. I've looked at some brief excerpts from the book. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but it has some interesting points. So the goal of the assignment is to generate 10 unique photographs and go through a process of defining a variation that you use to alter the photograph. Typically, if you're photographing a subject, and going through my photographs, I've seen myself do this, but once you get past 3 or 4 images, you tend to repeat the same thing over again. In my case, picturing my dogs, right off the bat, the first 3 semi-professional grade pictures of the dogs, I have them in the exact same scene, and lighting and everything else. And I have a nice picture of each of those dogs in that setting. But anyway, once you start trying to get past those 3 or 4 images, it starts getting tougher. As an example, Ted goes through and discusses how your brain works, and going to lunch someplace. Maybe you're taking your lunch to work every day for a period of time, and new restaurant opens up and you have to make the decision on whether or not you're going to try it, or you just decide to try it, and your brain quickly decides or determines the steps you need to do that, the time you need, your travel to and from, and a thought about what you're going to order and what you're going to eat there. So the point of the exercise is to try and challenge your creative thought processes. So now, being variations, you want to pick something that you realistically have time to do. Now, I'm going to do this over the next 4 weeks or so. The simplest thing for this is going to be still life in nature. You can try and do it with landscapes. You will have issues there because you're going to have to do different times of day, many days, maybe months and seasons. Again, dogs aren't appropriate for this because they generally won't sit still long enough to get decent pictures, let alone create variations on those pictures. So animals are pretty hard in that. Also, portraiture. Now, portraiture, if you have a willing model, then you might be successful using that for variations. I'm going to do still life because I have more control over the time and the subject matter and what I introduce as variations. So doing a still life, I like photography and images that I've seen of Joseph Sudek. I'm kind of going to try and recreate an image sort of like that. It's not going to be exact, of course, but it's going to be Sudek-like, although, of course, most of my images will probably be in color. As a variation, I will try and do some black and whites and see how those turn out. But of course, the challenge here is to not just simply go, okay, I've got a color photo and now I've got a black and white, and that's a variation. That's kind of cheating. And from my approach and perspective, I'm cheating myself, and that's kind of the issue. I'm not trying to win a contest here. I'm trying to teach myself to think differently and adaptively to try and achieve results. So maybe those results will be good. Some of them will probably be bad, and having some failures is good. Because as human beings, our best learning is through failures. So anyway, hope you like this video. Part 2 should be coming out, like I said, 3 or 4 weeks. I've gathered a couple of items that I'm going to use for the still life, and trying to generate some effects as we speak. And I'll get more into that in the next video. Anyway, Thanks. Have a great day.